Hi everyone, Karina Gantis here with another episode of Behind the Pen. I hope you're all well. I am an award-winning author of 14 books, award-winning filmmaker, a booktuber, a YouTuber. I host the Author Assist show on the Artist First radio network. I'm also a podcaster, of course, with Behind the Pen, which is a YouTube show and converted later into the audio podcast. I know I forgot something. I need to write a list of these. Yes, I know something's missing there. We'll get there later. Today, my special guest today is Magnus Carter. I need to call you Marcus. Magnus Carter, welcome to the show.
Hello, Karina. Thank you for having me on your show.
And where are you calling from?
I'm actually calling from Pennsylvania in the United States.
I have a client over in Pennsylvania. Trying to think where he is. No, can't think of his address. Definitely Pennsylvania though. So how is it over there at the moment?
It's starting to become winter. Yeah, it's getting colder. Days are definitely getting shorter, but it's getting closer to spring.
Closer to spring. Are you ready for Christmas?
I was until I seen my nephew, and then after I talked to my nephew, I have to start all over on Christmas shopping. So I'm getting there day by day.
I think I started a few months ago, little bits and bobs for my two girls. I've got one that's 17 and one that's 12. So they're not into anything in particular. But they're also fussy as well. So it's hard to buy for. And they've got their tablet, they've got their computer, a laptop. So, you know, what to get after that? It's like they don't wear watches. I mean, they're not jewelry people. So I'm having a hard time thinking of what presents to get them. But it's been a hard year, a hard 2 years for everyone with the situation that we've been in. A lot of I know that you're an author, so I don't need to ask what you use your pen for like I do normally. With authors, a lot of them have either lost their inspiration or because they've been in lockdown, they've like, I've got that book, I've got to write it. Now I have the time, I'm going to do it. So we'll talk about the book in a moment, but what I want to do is talk about you. Have you always lived in Pennsylvania?
I have lived always in Pennsylvania, but I traveled so much from my previous jobs. I didn't need to move anywhere because I was never at home. So I got to see the country on the company's money.
But so just around the US.
I've been to other countries as well, the Bahamas, a couple times to Mexico, Canada, a few times. I was about ready to book the Mediterranean cruise to come over to see, Europe and whatnot, but then everything shut down. I'm like, okay, so this is going to get put on hold for a little bit longer.
Yes,
so I have aspirations.
That's the first thing that I'm doing once the COVID is over and done with, is booking the family cruise that they all deserve. Maybe go to Disneyland as well. Now with this situation, it makes you see what's more important. It makes you put your things in priority. Family, of course, is one of the main priorities, and enjoying life and making the most of the time that we have. Let me start with you from when you were younger. Did you have a creativity when you were at school? Did you enjoy art? Did you enjoy the writing part? How were you?
Honestly, back, I'm still having some, let's say, battles with the art and the artistic part of me. I was always into the math, the science, the process procedure.
The other side of the brain.
I was on I used the other side of the brain so much. And growing up, when computers just first started coming out, I took to them really quickly. So my brain focused mainly on that.
I'm guessing that job that took you all around the world and all around the US had to do with computers then.
Yes, my last position at my previous employer, I was actually designing computer networks
Oh,
for their
wow.
medical devices to work on in hospital systems.
Oh, that's exactly what my brother does in the UK.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That is a
that is,
small world.
isn't it just all the things that you could be doing and working when it comes to computers,
Mhm.
programming, systems, uh, being tech or whatever. You are actually doing the exactly same job that my brother is doing, and it's working with the hospitals and the systems, their computer systems.
Yeah, I took the position out of leaving a company that was doing a lot of massive changes, and I needed to change as well.
Mm.
So I needed to be. I love to travel, but I never had the time to travel. So this employer gave me the option to go do that until I realized I was gone 80% of the time. So I was actually living out of a suitcase and coming home, doing laundry, getting ready for the next project. So when things started happening, after with the shutdown and stuff, that's where I started realizing there's more to than just working the 9 to 5. And that's where I actually had time to think and be creative and nurture my guitar playing skills, other music aspects.
Oh wow, we'll
Um,
talk about that in a
so
minute.
yes, I had time to actually focus on some of the things I haven't done in years.
That's it. That's it. And like I say, you put them in priority. You see what you've missed. You see what you've you've I mean you've had lots of experience with that job, and you've been around, you've met people, and you've been abroad, which is brilliant. But
Mhm.
when it's not fulfilling to you, because like you say, you're not home and you're living out a suitcase, and you've done it and you've got that experience and you've had that chance, and that's great. Now it's time to move on. And so you believe that you were ready before the lockdown, or was it the lockdown that made you think, I shouldn't be doing this job, I want to do something else, I want to be creative?
It was a combination of both. It kind of married each other up. I was getting so burnt out from traveling so much, but on the same aspect, I wanted to change. I knew a change was coming. I knew a change had to happen, or I was going to lose a lot of uh, more time with family, more time with friends that I've already had. And you're correct. I had such great experiences with some of my coworkers and some of the places I've been to, and some of the events and such as concerts or going to races or other things that I couldn't do while
Yeah,
working a single job, in a
yeah.
single place. So
So
it's now I want to do more travel for pleasure instead of work. So
yeah, yeah,
creative
I
aspect
get
came out.
you on that. Yeah, I understand that completely. That's the first thing I'm doing once this is over and done with, whenever it's over and done with. Um, I'm waiting to for the virus to disappear, and it will eventually. And that's what I'm waiting for before I book any holidays. I want it to be out, totally out. But I don't know how many years I'll be waiting, but that's my plan. But yeah, as soon as that happens, the first thing I'll be doing is taking my family on holiday, because they deserve it. I think everyone, the world is a big place, and it's a shame when you don't get to see some of these amazing, like the wonders of the world, and going to totally different cultures and learning their culture and eating their food. And it's just
Mhm.
the wealth of knowledge out there is available to everybody once we get over the COVID. Right, I'm not going to mention that word anymore now. Let's get on to your music. I'm really, really excited about this, because um, I've said many times in my shows that when you're an artist, you are more than one thing.
Right.
But normally you concentrate on one project, even though you have talents for other parts of the arts. So you could be an illustrator and a writer, you could be a musician and a tattooist. There's just so much when it comes to artistry. Myself, I'm a writer, and I'm a singer. And whereas you are a writer and a musician. So tell me about your guitar. I mean, how long have you been playing? Have you just started picking it up because you have the time and you want to get on with it?
Well, the part of the guitar was music's always been a part of my life. I always loved music, growing up with it, listening to it. It's always been there. It creates memories, it creates atmosphere.
Oh,
It allows me to learn. I found that, through high school. Uh, I actually started playing the guitar in high school. Off and on, I got really into it, and it was a great outlet for being creative and
yeah,
meeting different types of people and allowing myself to grow
yeah.
as actually a person should be growing. Then college came around. Well, I took some time off from school, did some music, played in a couple local bands, did a lot of
Oh,
cover music. Uh, but I was also still taking lessons because I still needed that structure because I was still new with it. But I had quite a few different guitar instructors as well. But my one favorite guitar instructor, I wanted to learn classical music because
mm,
my theory behind that, everything spawned from classical music from way back when. You got your scales, you got your modes, you got your tempos, everything, and everything that spawned from that is a derivative of it because it's all relative. So once I started learning playing classical music, playing metal was easier. Playing pop rock was like super easy. Playing this stuff that you hear on the top 40 stuff is like, okay, I'm just sitting there and doing aimless things. But if you can sit down and actually play like a concerto from Beethoven or
on
Tchaikovsky or Haydn,
guitar, I can't imagine that.
it's very stimulating because there's so many changes in with the instruments and with the timing and whatnot, and you're not just sitting somewhere on a guitar like on the fretboard where your hands play and you make the notes. It's And then you can spawn off into so many different things. So I love that part of it, the music theory of it, the actually being creative and taking it somewhere else where you never know. Some of the greatest guitarists in the world have done this. Uh,
Mhm.
we have new legends and we have old legends that are fading away and passing away. So, but the music is still here for us to enjoy.
Of course, there is no deadline. There's no what's the word I'm looking for? It's universal and it's going to be there forever. Anything
Right.
from classical stuff, from Mozart, will never disappear. It's always going to be there. And
Mhm.
so music evolves. We evolve
Mhm.
as musicians. Um, what did you said that you after doing your classical, you found everything just easy because especially with pop songs, you're doing like two chords and, and that's about it.
It
But
is that two or three chords, and you put a little scale in there, and you have a song nowadays, or you
yeah,
remix it and take it
exactly.
from somewhere else.
But what was your favorite genre other than classical? What did you really, when you were actually a musician in the band, what sort of music were you playing?
Playing classic rock, blues rock. I had a band. I was in a band that there was blues, like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Muddy Waters, BB King, the greats. Eric Clapton is in there. I played those types of music, and then I would play ZZ Top, Iron Maiden, Metallica,
You
Megadeth.
just you just
It,
you just mentioned my favorite heavy metal rock band in the world, Iron Maiden. I'm a huge fan.
I,
Absolutely
I
love them.
I got I got to see them in concert. They were wonderful. Motorhead, Guar, the concerts and the experiences to see them actually play live and actually go and play their music.
It's the
It's
atmosphere. Even
wonderful.
if you don't get close to the stage, it's the atmosphere of being in
Exactly.
the the concert. Unfortunately, I never got to see them in concert, and I won't have the
Oh,
opportunity now to see them. But I have all their DVDs, I have all their documentaries, I have all their CDs. I was in the fan club, so I had all the T-shirts, and
okay.
yeah, they're just absolutely amazing, and they're still going, and they're like 60
Yes.
years old. Bruce, I mean, he has such a powerhouse siren. We call him a powerhouse siren voice, and
Right.
he's not just that. I mean, he's a children book author, he's world champion, Olympic gold fencer, he's a writer. He did his autobiography, which I've got just across in my drawer over there, and he's so talented, and he's a pilot. I mean,
Wow.
there was this time where they had to use his plane for taking passengers back from a holiday resort. And of course, the plane had Eddie on the front. And first of all, that must have shocked them, get on. And then when they actually heard his voice, and, I'm
Oh
Bruce
man.
Dickinson. I mean, oh, can you imagine if
Oh.
you were one of those passengers on the plane? Lucky
Oh.
sods. The plane landed in Corfu Airport.
Wow.
I didn't get down in time to take pictures or to see it, but I saw it on the news, and my friends who knew I was into Iron Maiden showed me pictures when they were in town, and they saw the actual plane was on my island. I'm a little island, and it actually landed on my island. Oh my gosh. Wow. Things
Wow.
I know, but I've never seen them live. But just watching the concerts, I can just imagine the atmosphere. I mean, everyone is just so friendly, and they're all a family, and everyone just loves Maiden. And I think they'll keep going until one of them cocks off on stage. I really do. I don't think they're gonna stop. They
They
love
would
it
have
too
enough
much.
fans. They would have honestly enough fans up there to actually just pick up whatever instrument falls and continue the show. Honestly, because
Yeah, somebody would jump up, grab whoever it was that's just conked out, grab the guitar, and carry on, and Bruce would be like, "Yeah, let's do this." That's awesome. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, Iron Maiden. Oh, so I love that you're a musician, and I love that you've brought your writing in. Now, you said it was half to do with how you felt unfulfilled
Mhm.
in before the lockdown, and then having that time to be at home, to have the time to write. That's one of the major things when it comes to writing a novel or non-fiction or whatever. It's having the time to write. You need that time, you need that space, you need the quiet, unless you're like me and you'll listen to Iron Maiden while you're writing.
Yep. Actually, for honestly, I started listening to symphonic metal.
Wow.
So I branched off into that realm, and Epica and Delane and Nightwish have honestly been on the playlist.
Nightwish. Oh,
So
I like Over
which
the Hills. I like their rendition of Over the Hills.
Mhm.
Nightwish. Yeah, yeah. Operatic heavy metal. Um, Evanescence started
Yes.
that for me.
Oh
You
yes,
seen them?
I actually got to see her with Lindsey Sterling and a full orchestra. One of the
Oh,
best concerts I've attended.
oh wow. Yeah, because she does her solo things now. One of my BFF in the UK goes to see her when she does her solo concerts. Um,
Oh no, she wasn't solo. She was with Evanescence. It was full
oh right,
Evanescence,
it was. Oh
the
right.
the symphony, and Lindsey Sterling actually opened up for them.
Oh
It was
wow.
amazing.
Gosh. This is what life is all about. To experience as much as you can, to have all these amazing memories, to enjoy, and to just keep on living and being happy and um, living for each day. That's what I say. Everyone's like, save, save, save. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but you don't know what's going to happen. So you need to enjoy it while you can. Let's talk about your book. Now,
Oh, okay.
this is a non-fiction book, and this is to do with, it's totally different from what you were doing with your computers. I mean, you said already that your brain's into mathematics and business and tech and stuff, so I can imagine the connection there. But when I think of you working with computers and then writing the book that you have, I'm like, where the hell did that come from?
That is a valid question, and I get that a lot. Uh, the book and the material in the book stemmed back in the high school, back when we were actually learning how to become adults or getting us ready for college and for life afterwards. But the material they covered is nowhere near what life needs or what a person needs in life to do what's in this book. So
Mhm.
I went back after the time I sat, after seeing the bills and actually being able to think and ponder and, you know, describe what has happened in the last 3 years of my life. That was a whirlwind. And actually, the last 15, 20 years from being out of high school and actually seeing the people from high school, I have, we've all done stupid things with money. All of us, any one of us have. And we all have dreams about using money. And some of the things that we've talked about, they cost money. But we never had the knowledge that we need in life to be able to afford all those things and to be able to enjoy those things in life. Uh, of course, we
Basically
got to save for.
saying, when you left school, even though
Mhm.
you'd learned what you'd learned, there was something missing. They were
There's
getting you ready for work, getting
Mhm.
you ready for going out there to start your career, but
Right.
they never taught you when it came to handling money and how to work with it and how to make it. And so that's what you thought was missing. And that's why you did this book.
Exactly. And plus, no one talked about the consequences with the money. If you overspend, or if you underspend, or if you're not making enough, or where to live if you are making money, but you want to make somewhere else, or how to make the best tomorrow happen, or to plan for a family, or uh, far be it a disaster or something that happened like this that everybody was out of a job for so long.
Hmm.
Nobody has
Nobody
ever,
was ready.
nobody was ready, and
Nobody was
nobody
ready. No.
expected it to happen on this scale or mass. Look at what
Hmm.
happened when Facebook shut down for 3 hours. How many
We all
people?
went over to MeWe. We did. There was everyone was over on MeWe laughing about Facebook being down.
I constantly, when working with the computers and whatnot, I said this is going to happen and we're going to see complete chaos. And we've seen some chaos come from it because everybody depends on it. Businesses depend on it. People make money on it. And it wasn't just Facebook, it was what they also own is Instagram and WhatsApp. Everybody uses WhatsApp because nobody has international calling.
I don't
Well,
use
people do
WhatsApp.
have
I'm
it.
a WhatsApp non-user. When they said
Oh,
when it came up on Facebook, are you going to connect with WhatsApp? I said no. Take the take it off. No, and no, I don't use WhatsApp. Never have. Yeah.
okay. Well, congratulations. I tried and used it and I uninstalled it like really quick because I didn't like it myself.
So I did the
That's for
right
you,
thing
Mr.
then by
Zuckerberg.
not ticking that box. So, I mean, is this from your book, what you've been writing about, the theme and everything? Is this from stuff that you've experienced through your life so far, or did you do a lot of research to get the answers that you wanted?
Well, a lot of it has come from mismanaging money. I've been up, I've been down, I've been all around with money. It's been good, it's been bad. But I learned the consequences the hard way because there was no one there to teach or
Mm,
show. But then again, thinking about it, playing the advocate, would I have listened? That's, we played the coin toss on that one. But I have also looked at, and I had to do a lot of research because in this field, in investing, there's so much jargon out there. There's so much legal stuff out there. All the shows that talk about investing and say you should do this or you should do that, and the forms you fill out when you get a very well-paying job is like, here, fill these out, and you don't know what you want
you're
to do with it.
signing. Yeah.
It's a 401k or stock options or whatever the company offers, but they don't have time to explain. It's your money, do what you want with it. So a lot of research went into that. A lot of friends that I've had started investing, they made mistakes. I use them as a platform and a sounding board as well. So on
They're
top
okay
of
with that. You got the clearance for that. Did you use the real name?
yeah, we're just gonna put them as friends because I won't use them and I haven't discussed them with it. But also on top of that, I've also given them the book to read and see what aspects I missed. I asked
Mm,
them to use the book. I asked them to use the downloadable content that you can get when you purchase this book, and see what holes I missed. See what things that they went through that I may not have gone through, and so I can incorporate it and make it an easier transition.
this is what we use beta readers for. As a fiction author myself, we have a stranger look through our work to try and see the holes, the inconsistencies, see what we don't see as a writer because it just passes over our head every single time we read through it. So having these fresh eyes. But with yours, it wasn't just about looking at the manuscript, it was about the material inside to make sure that you covered everything, to make sure that you
Right.
didn't miss out something really important that one of your friends had gone through, and you should really incorporate it into the book of how you could avoid getting into the same situation,
Mhm.
and how, if you are in that situation, how to get out of it.
That is correct. And for test studies after I got their sign off on it, and or I they felt that I've done enough for one book and possibly go into another book. I
Mm,
started handing out the book to people I've known, various age groups, people in high school, people that just graduated high school that have their first jobs, people in college, and people that are starting a family, because all those four categories or are just a small testing group that I've used out of a broad group
mm,
to make sure that the book and the content of the book, like we were talking about, makes sense to them, that
yeah.
they can do it, and to know that they're in charge of their financial future. Nobody else is.
Yeah, I mean,
Not their
when it comes
boss, not
to getting a wedding sorted, starting a new job, starting a family, buying a house, that's when you've really got to think seriously about your finances. Can you afford it? What do you need to get? What do you need to let go of? What luxuries do you have to stop so that you can afford to move on to this next part of your life? And especially when you leave school, you've got nothing, you've got no indication of what life is really like out there. And so I think this book is especially for school leavers and college and graduates and everything, to give them a real idea of the situations they might get into, how to avoid them, and what's waiting for them out there. And I think you cover so much in that one book, to cover quite a few marketplaces, for young ones, for every age really. I mean, even when it comes to retirement, we're going
Right.
on to that age now. I mean, you've covered every age, because every part of that importance, in that age, in that lifespan, um, you've got to seriously think about your finances, pensions, insurance, health insurance, and all that. I mean, I'm sure I haven't read your book. I sound like I have, but I haven't. But I looked at all the amazing reviews that you've got for it. So people are definitely loving it, and it's exactly what people need. Um, but what made you write it with everything? What, you've got to be honest with me now. Something's happened in your life where you've got to that point. I shouldn't have done that. How the hell am I going to get out of this hole? And I need to warn people not to do the same mistake I've done. So, what was that point in your life, Magnus?
Honestly, I was looking to get married to someone, and it didn't work out. And I was so worried about making things for tomorrow, I overlooked today
Mm,
quite a bit. And I didn't realize how much money I was spending for the tomorrow with her. So I got
mm,
into a lot of credit card debt. I got into more finances issues with my house, car issues of repossession and whatnot. And ultimately, it did not work out with the woman, which I thank many people and the person above about for that. So after that bubble bursted, I stopped feeling sorry for myself after why
a
she
certain
left and
time, yeah.
all that stuff. And then I got to work. I'm like, okay, I am here now. I can't start thinking about tomorrow. I need to fix the things today and make decisions today that will get me out of this so I can be in a place where I can start putting money aside for tomorrow. So that is exactly what happened to me. And I don't want anybody else to ever feel like that. I can't force them to do anything, but I can give them the knowledge and the perspective of to make a sound choice for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I can definitely lead that horse to the water, but I can't make them drink it. So the years that I've spent rebuilding myself, I got a newer job. I started making more money. I started cutting things out. I started making a budget for myself. I started finding out how much I was worth, and I started finding out where do I want to be in, say, 5 years or 10 years or 20, 15, whatever it was at that time. It's not a set in stone goal, but it was something I needed to work towards. I started working with my debtors. I started working with the people, with the house, with the car, with anything that I own money on, loans, credit cards. I did it all myself. I did not ask for one penny from anybody to get this done. So I am very humble and honest about that. And
Yeah.
the information that I gained throughout my journey, I put in the book so people can learn from it. Two, make their own decisions. Three, find out what they want out of life and give them the honest perspective right now, because people don't really realize where they're at until they actually sit down and do the work themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you plan so much of, your coming future, but until it actually starts, you start stepping into that, you don't know exactly what's going to happen in fate and destiny, and all
Mhm.
that makes changes into your your life plan, if you so to speak. I mean, when, especially when you're younger and you're like, I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that, and
Mhm.
then it totally. I mean, I was going to. Well, I was working for a advertising marketing firm. I just got promoted and I left to live in Corfu, Greece, because I met my
Ooh,
future husband while on holiday.
okay.
And so I would never have thought that would happen to me,
Mhm.
if I hadn't gone on holiday, or if I hadn't met him. Then where would I be now in that firm? Where would I be with my job? Where would I be with kids? Or, would I have my own company? There's lots of what ifs, but you've got to look at what's now.
Mhm.
You know, the past is past. You have to build for the future.
Mhm.
I did say at the start of the show that, especially my husband, he's just nags all the time about saving, saving, saving. And when it hit, and I turned around and said, I see what you mean now.
Mhm.
Because if we hadn't have done that saving, and him being out of a job, I work at home, on the computer with my clients who are authors. So I had a couple of authors drop out because of money situations, but I also had lots of authors who had no idea how to promote their book online, because they're always going to the cons and doing live readings and live signings and selling their books that way. They didn't know about this other window that's always been open to them. So I
Mhm.
had a lot of people coming to me for training on that. Um, but it just goes to show that you don't know what's going to happen in the future, and you do have to save, but don't go to the extent where you are missing out on things, because as I
Mhm.
said before, life is short. It's not, 70, 80 years. It's not long. It's not a
No.
long time. And you need to, yes, you need to save for the future, but you also need to enjoy the time that you have, and get as much experience out of it as you can.
Mhm. Oh, I completely agree. And you brought up a lot of valid points. Um, Saving you money will only save you so much. Your money's not working for you. I'm given the option of actually saving the money and having your money make that money for you sitting somewhere else.
Mm,
So that the passive income, as they call it, because you're not really doing anything, has been left on the shelf for quite some time for people that don't even know it exists.
I would be too scared to invest, because I know absolutely nothing when it comes to stocks and shares, and I'd have to teach myself before I would
Mhm.
hand over money to a stranger
Oh,
to buy shares or stocks. So that is something I've never thought of, and I still, at the time right now in my life,
mhm.
I wouldn't do it, especially when the money is needed right now, when you haven't been working for 2 years. Um, but I mean, did you know about that beforehand, or did you research and learn all about stocks and shares and buying and selling?
I knew enough to be dangerous and cause a lot of issues. We'll start with there, but you have pinpointed six of at least 10 fears and misconceptions about investing that are actually addressed in the book.
Mm,
Meaning you don't know who to trust with it. You don't know what you actually want to invest in. You don't know what the end result's going to be, but that is actually addressed in here. I'm going to go over a couple of those points with you right now.
yeah, please do.
So, one thing is we start by your budget. You, we're all everybody's got to be accountable and find out their starting place. Once we find out what you're spending a month, we find out what your net worth is. So when you find out what you're worth and what the items you have, your car, your house, your your swimming pool, anything you can make money on, or that actually can be sold as what they call an asset that you can use to make money or to buy things with, you put in this form. And then you compare to both of them. Okay. You compare your budget to what you're actually worth, and you take that information and you decide, well, what do you want today and what do you want tomorrow? So you find those items out. You list them down. If you're with a partner, of course, you want to include your partner with it because it's their money
I'd
too,
have no
even though they
choice. No choice in the matter. I would have to have him. Yeah.
exactly. It's a when you're talking families and couples and marriages, partners, whatever you want to call it, they need to be part of you. They need to be part of this because their money is also being in this, and they're also part of your life that you want to share with later. So you take that. This book will actually say if you it gives you the options and the pros and cons of investing with a broker or investing with a bank. It also goes over if you want to invest yourself. It gives you a couple good places where to start to find your research to see if you want to do it on your own. So with that, you need to know the fees, you need to know tax information, you need to know, well, how much can I really afford and what do I want to invest in? This book particularly is around mutual funds. The reason why I chose mutual funds as a first book is mutual funds are normally two to five or 10, depending on how it's structured, companies that you buy into as a stock option. So you're not betting on one stock of one company. So you're actually investing a portion of that money into multiple companies. So as long as three, four, maybe five, depending on how big it is making money, and one or two of them are not, you're still in the black. You're not in the red. So it also talks about if you want to buy more or less, or you can buy more more into that mutual fund, you can diversify into another mutual fund, and it goes through the steps of doing that. So not only does it start you with your decision making, but it also takes the jargon out of it. It actually gives you the option, you the reader, the option to do with your money what you want to do with it. And you don't need thousands of dollars to do this.
I
You
love
can
how
do this.
simplified you've made it. And I can just imagine how easy your book is to read because you see these books and they are jargon. They are you
Mhm.
have to be a professor to understand what the hell they're trying to tell you in these books. They are so hard to read and understand. And the way you've just simplified that one topic, I
Mhm.
can imagine how easy it is to read and understand what you're talking about in your book. And that's perfect, like you say, for older people, for the young people. They need to understand and be able to get where you're coming from, but not get bored and close the book because it's too technical and it's too
Right.
much jargon, and that they don't want that. They want it simplified. They want it easy to understand, so they can see, the road ahead. And I think just you explaining that one topic shows me how your book is going to reach to other people and how they're going to be able to understand it. You mentioned um, book one, so
Mhm.
I'm assuming there is going to be a book two.
It is in post production right now. Is the book two. I'm hoping to have that
Wonderful.
out before or right before Christmas, before the end of the year. So I'm finishing up with myself with some people I'm collaborating on. I'm working with my narrator, the narrator that I had for the first book, because as soon as I mentioned book two to him, he was completely on board with it. I'm like, I didn't have to say anything else. All he wanted to know is when do I want to start, and if it's the same amount, I'm going to pay him.
So
That
you
was
have
it.
a narrator. So your first book is narrated. It's in paperback, Kindle, and narrated.
Yes, it is. It is
Wow.
on ACX. It is. The reviews on there, I have quite a bit of reviews from the UK and from the US. These people that actually listen to this book in my test group are not investors. The reviews you read online are not investors that read this book. The people that invested, I asked to hold off on reviewing the book because I wanted to get the real people,
the public.
They're real people, but the everyday person that does
Yeah.
not understand anything about it.
Like
And
me.
as you can see by the reviews, you've read them. You read them, which you've stated, which I'm very thankful for, and thank you for the compliments. Is that the book is not written to talk down to anybody, to not belittle anybody. It is actually on a level where people can have a firm standing point, a firm ground to start from, and you build from there. You do with it with the knowledge you want to do with it. After you read the book, it's like, okay, I only want to do budgeting with it. Fine, do a budget with it. If you want to find only what your net worth is, okay, do that. Or if you're already investing, there's an investment tracker in there. You track your progress. Use that.
Cool.
That is fine. But the information is here in the book that you can do with it as you please. It can be used as a reference book. I have been told they read the book in one sitting. It's about less than 200 pages. You can do that. You can go back to it. It is what you want with it. The audio version is 3 hours. And I had multiple people read it, listen to it all at once because it was smooth and they didn't want to turn it off.
That's brilliant.
So,
You've got gold there. You know, a non-fiction book talking about money and how to invest. I can only imagine an audio for after 10 minutes, you know. Like, but if they went straight through, and because it was so, like you said, so smooth and easy to understand and easy to relate to, and not talking down to you, which of course you don't want, which is a big mistake authors do in these how-to books and what have you. So
that's one, Karina, that's one thing about this book. It's not a how-to, it's an informational book. I'm not telling you how to do anything. I'm giving you the information. You decide what you want with it.
Yeah.
You decide what your money is.
Yeah. So book 2, I mean, where are we going with that? What are we talking about? What we've moved on to?
Book 2 is a little more aggressive. It's a little bit more there. It complements book 1 as to diversify your portfolio, which I describe what a portfolio is. It's only a folder with all your money in it, and you get to see what it does. But book 2 is tackling the major thing of today, which is cryptocurrencies. Not, it is done in the same tone. Not as it's a little bit more elevated than the first book, than this book here. I have to be, because it is more technical. It is more. It's more aggressive, but it does
would you say
alleviate you.
The readers of book 2 would already be people that have invested money and know what they're doing?
Not necessarily.
Oh,
I still give the foundation. I also give the foundation of some of the top ones performing right now and what they are, and also where you can buy them and what to look out for, especially when we're talking computers now and out there. And from myself working in the computer and networking industry, security is a huge factor here. So I had to go through the security aspects of investing with digital currency. So that is a major factor what to look out for scams. Tons of scams out there.
That scares me. That does digital currency. That's frightening.
A lot of that stuff actually went over my head, and being in the computer field for so long, that I actually had to sit down and I broke things down just like I did in book 1. So not just Bitcoin and Ethereum or another buzzword or blockchains. And I didn't just go over those. I went through at least 10 different ones that are high performing. Performing right now. So that
have you again with research for book 2, are you invested yourself into the this a digital currency.
Yes, actually, I
So
am. I
you
have
are.
mutual. I am invested with the mutual funds. I am invested with my 401k. I have my currencies. I'm actually taking currencies down a little bit, but because the thing with cryptocurrencies, it's more time consuming because you have to watch it more because it's
Mm.
so up and down, and there's an exponential amount of things that will affect the stock with that. So I don't have too much into that because I don't have time to keep into it. Mutual, like with the first book, mutual funds, it's like, okay, I have my strategy. I check once a month to figure it
All
out.
right.
Cryptocurrency is like I'm going to be very over the top with this every hour because it
It's not
changes that much.
stable. That's why it's a new
Oh
thing.
no,
It's not stable. So yeah.
it is very volatile. That is
Mm-hmm.
the word to use, definitely to use. It is definitely unstable as well, if you want to tone it down a bit. But I don't have the time to do that. I have some tips and tricks in there if you want to keep doing that, like setting timers, setting automatic sales, setting automatic buys, trades, and whatnot. That's in the book. You can set those up at your leisure, and it also goes over the pros and cons of doing such things. So you don't want to. What I'm working on, because actually after that book is I'm already working on book 3.
I was just about to say, there's no way that it's just 1 and 2. What
Oh no,
there is a third, that maybe be a fourth. So what's the third one? What is that theme for the third book?
the theme for the third book is actually going to be the stock market itself.
Ah, there we go.
See, we have mutual funds, a great
Mm-hmm.
beginning because you're starting the stocks. You have a basics for it.
Mm-hmm.
Cryptocurrency is for the more daredevilish, if you will. The
Yeah,
more
yeah, yeah,
now, the
yeah.
more tomorrow, the more next week type of investor. And then you got the stock market is the sharks of the Wall Streets. And now you actually just want to focus on a company or just one company now. And you learn what that one company can do. And then you can follow that one company. It's like following your sports team. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
that's what the stock market is. But
Mm-hmm.
I go into the history of the stock market that actually started in the 1800s, and
Wow.
it was global. Each country had their own sort of stock market. The United Kingdom had their own. Asia definitely had their own. The North America was still doing the barter trades and everything, still under England and whatnot, but they still had stock markets. People were still
Yeah.
making money investing. All To put it lightly, a stock market is all you're doing is giving somebody money to go make something and getting something in return.
Well, hopefully getting something back in
Hopefully
return.
get something in return and they don't go out of business. Granted, it does happen, or they get bought out and then, a whole bunch. That's also included in chaos and all that stuff. But like we were saying here, everything, you can't just have your money just sitting somewhere, one thing, not put all your eggs in a basket, is what
Mm-hmm.
all the older generations have told us. Well,
So
when Mhm.
Magnus, where can people find these books? Book 1, which is already published, book 2, hopefully, like you say, is coming out before Christmas. Where do they need to go to get your book?
Honestly, they can get it on Amazon, and and Amazon now has Prime shipping with it. So a couple of days you'll have the book and you can start doing it. There are instructions in the book for the downloadable content. I
That's
didn't put
wonderful. That's really good that you've added that.
Oh
Really
yes,
good.
yes, because with the downloadable content, everything changes, including
Yeah,
downloadable content. So once you get access to that content, I'm actually going to be adding things to that with later books. So
that's
that
brilliant.
once you have that, you will have your stock market thing. You'll have like a chart for cryptocurrencies and whatnot. And it's all going to be in one location. You buy any of the books, you will get the tools with it to make yourself
That's awesome.
accountable for your decisions.
That just makes it even better to buy the book, not just what the book's about, especially the first one. You actually having that digital content extra for them to help them on their way, to help them make their decisions. And like you said, updating it as it needs updating. It's like with when it comes to marketing, you have to keep up with it. Things change so quickly.
Exactly.
So you need to keep up with it. And someone buying the book and having that digital content, and watching how the upgrades are going and what's happening next, and getting more involved, and everything's working out for them, so then they're going to go on to the second book and have a look and see what this is about, or they might skip the second book and go straight to stock shares because they feel they're confident enough now because of you to be able to go ahead and make some money doing it that way. It's you're brilliant, you're awesome. What you've done for other people, what you're doing, it is fantastic. And it's like, you know, you've learned from your mistakes, and you just want to make sure that no one does the same mistake, and to show them how to invest correctly. And I just think that's awesome. And I might even have to have a look at the book myself. Because like I said, it scares the hell out of me, anything like that. So you've really made me look at it a different way, and I hope that the watchers of the YouTube show and listeners on the podcast now keep that in mind, and think about the future, think about investment, think about how you can your money that's just sitting there, how you can make that and double it and triple it safely, and not fall into any pitfalls. Magnus, it's been awesome meeting you. It's been great chatting with you about your book. I wish you all the best with book 2 coming out. I hope it takes off as well as the first book has, and that book 3 is a great success as well. And all the best with everything you do.
Oh, I thank you, Karina, for your time. Thank you for allowing me a time on your podcast and YouTube channel, and also to reach your viewers and yourself. One last thing that I've learned from this whole experience, and it actually came from one of the reviews that you have read, is one of the perspective of the reader made it very clear that money is supposed to be used as a tool to get where you need to go, and not your final destination.
I like that. So you use that as a quote. You should use that as a quote on the cover of your book. That's fabulous.
I am actually going to start putting that, yes. And when I talk to people, because the way society and we're all raised to do is we're supposed to have all this money, but we forget that the money is used and not supposed to be hoarded and just sitting somewhere. And like your thoughts, we're supposed to use it to enjoy life, to get the things we want, to help the people we need to help.
I mean, we still need to think about the future, and
of course. Well,
you know,
yeah.
make sure we have that little nest egg for emergencies.
Oh, right.
But life, yeah. Well, what we've learned now, what we've been through these last 2 years, it shows that life is very short. It's very unstable. We don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next, and you need to enjoy it. You need to experience new things. You need to do what makes you happy, and that's investing money can help make those dreams that you want come true. So I think it all ties together nicely in a big red bow. Magnus, where can people find you on social media if they want to get in touch with you and ask questions or whatever?
Oh, yes. You can actually, I haven't closed, you can put in the description my email address, mcarter@legendaryproductsandservices.com, which I know it's giant. I'm working on trying to find a smaller domain. Seriously, I am.
Oh, that's what I do. I'll have to help you with that.
You can find me there.
Yeah.
I also have a Facebook group, Investing on a Budget. There's a
Mhm.
Facebook group you can join if you like.
Brilliant.
I'm starting it. I'm actually starting to put more time into that. Also on Amazon, if you have questions or want anything on the book or whatever, I have an author page there as well. You can reach out.
Brilliant. That's fabulous. Well, again, I wish you all the best and thank you so much for being a guest on Behind the Pen.
Thank you much.